We're going to go live to the Prime Minister, accompanied by a number of business executives. You can see Twiggy Forrest there. Let's have a listen in.
Joined today by Geraldine Slattery, the President of BHP in Australia, Kelly Parker, the Chief Executive of Rio Tinto, Dr Andrew Forrest, the Executive Chairman of Fortescue, and Gerhard Veldsman, the CEO of Hancock Iron Ore. I think it says something about how significant the relationship is between the Australian businesses and Chinese businesses, and in particular the importance of Australian iron ore exports for steel production here in China, that there are 4 of the most senior business people in Australia represented here. And we have had a very successful discussion today with Chinese steelmakers about decarbonisation of the steelmaking process. This is the first time that Australia's iron ore leaders have met with China's steel industry leaders with an Australian Prime Minister here in China. And the discussions will resonate here, no doubt, with the leadership of China that I have discussions with tomorrow, but also more broadly. Our iron ore is a critical industry in Australia. It employs more than 60,000 workers directly. But of course there are many hundreds of thousands of jobs depend upon this sector in Australia. Australia is proudly the largest producer of iron ore in the world. We supply half of the world's iron ore, and we're responsible for more than half of China's iron ore imports. We know that steel is the backbone of the modern economy, but we also know that we need to decarbonise these processes if we are going to successfully deal with the challenge of climate change, but also the opportunity that it represents. And one of the things that struck me today from the discussion with the Chinese steelmakers as well as the Australian iron ore exporters is the common interest which is there. Common discussion about changing the nature of furnaces, decarbonisation, the use of hydrogen, the use of research as well, and collaboration between Australia and China. The Pilbara in Western Australia is the engine room for the world's iron ore, and we want that to remain the case for a very long period of time. We want Australian iron ore to be part of the solution when it comes to lowering emissions, and we understand that China wants that too, and that was reiterated today. These discussions were an important step forward between our two nations. We want to see a sustainable steel sector in China and globally, and we want to build a future that keeps Australian jobs and our economy strong. Australia and China each have major stakes in the decarbonisation efforts. This is important not just for our two countries, but because of the impact of decarbonisation that it will have as part of addressing climate change. This is important as part of the global effort. It is that significant. My government is very much committed to supporting the industry-led efforts, and each of these 4 businesses today spoke about what they are doing domestically, what they're doing in partnership with their Chinese partners, and what they see as the way forward. We're going to hear from each of the 4 leaders in order. We'll hear from BHP, then Rio, then Fortescue, then Hancock. Then we're happy to take questions on these issues before I open up for more broader questions. So first, Geraldine.
Thank you, Prime Minister. Good morning. Today's and this week's gathering is a testament to the significance and the enduring nature of the related economic and shared trust relationship between Australia and China. Commend the Prime Minister and the China government for coming together in this way. It also puts a spotlight on the iron ore sector and the significance of the economic relationship and to the future of the decarbonisation of steel for that sector. It speaks to the continued need for productivity, for resilience in the iron ore sector in Australia, and it speaks to the strength and the longevity and the future potential of the relationship between the Australian iron ore producers and our customers here in China in decarbonisation. I look forward to what the talks over the next couple of days will bring to us. But again, just reiterate the significance of the iron ore sector to Australia and to the relationship between Australia and China. Thank you.
Kelly?
Thank you. And thank you to the Prime Minister for hosting this important conversation here in China. We've been exporting iron ore to China for over 5 decades. And whilst that's brought economic prosperity to both countries, it's deepened our relationship with mutual trust and collaboration. And that's what we're going to take forward with steel decarbonisation. We will create the future together on steel decarbonisation. And it takes research, it takes commitment, it takes both countries and companies to be working together. So today's conversation was really important. It's, as Geraldine said, our industry in Australia is very significant to Australia, but it's also significant here. And the know-how in China on steel decarbonisation is very powerful here, and we need to continue to learn and work together.
Kelly. Andrew?
Thank you, Prime Minister. I began my comments by thanking the Prime Minister and then, as you would do, say to a very busy man, we need this solved. If you want a job done, give it to a busy man. So I asked our Prime Minister if he could work together with China to form a bilateral agreement where we escape the threats coming from AI to employment, both in China and Australia, and generate a serious jobs boom in both China for green steel and particularly for Australia in green iron. We forecast hundreds of thousands of new jobs plus multiplier effects. Across China, we have people. They want a peaceful, long-term relationship with Australia. Across Australia, we have people who want a peaceful, long-term relationship with China. The Prime Minister has brought us into the realm of that peaceful, long-term relationship, invaluable for the economies of both countries and invaluable for the growth and employment in both countries. This is people to people, and nowhere is it more important than people's children. Going hard into green steel, the biggest single industrial polluter in the world, and hard into green iron ore, chasing that tail, is incredibly important for all people's children, and most of all for the employment drive and for the people of Australia and China. Thank you.
Thanks, Andrew. Gerhard.
Thanks, Prime Minister. Today was really a fantastic step forward, and I want to thank the Prime Minister for getting us all together to actually have discussions, not just amongst industries in Australia, but across with industries in China as well. Hancock Iron is one of the smallest, or the smaller one of the majors, but we're very proud to be able to work together with our Chinese customers and our other Asian customers over the last 10 years. There's major challenges facing us, but the one thing we all agree on, steel is really important for the world, and if we want to continue to lift living standards in the world, we need to continue to provide cost-effective steel. And working together, Australia and China, we can do that, no matter what the challenges are. Mining is very important for Australia. Western Australia got the vast majority of iron ore resources, and we need to find a way that continues to be part of the future. Because we know in Australia, when mining does well, and so iron ore, Australia does well. So Prime Minister, thanks again for the opportunity to take part in today, and together, collaborating with our Chinese customers, we can solve all of these challenges.
Thanks very much, Gerhard. We're happy to take questions.
Prime Minister, on these strong business relationships and building on those, do you see that also as critical to securing peace and stability in the region, and also working through any differences that Australia and China might have on AUKUS or other things?
It certainly is. One of the things that's important to recognise is that the economic relationship is obviously based upon a stable and secure region. We've seen the disruption that occurs when there is conflict in the world. That's why we need to make sure that we do everything we can to promote peace and security in the region. These businesses also, their engagement. At the end of the day, people-to-people relations are so important. And the relationship that these business people have with their Chinese counterparts, I've just seen firsthand. The producers with customers producing value and jobs in both countries is very important for Australia.
Prime Minister, Chinese direct investment has fallen enormously in Australia over the last 10 years, and there's a perception in China that Australia no longer welcomes Chinese money. Given the capital needed to develop the new industries you've spoken of today, whether that's decarbonising the iron ore process or even pushing deeper into rare earths, what is your message to Chinese investors? And is the government doing anything to further encourage Chinese capital to land in Australia?
Well, we, of course, as a country, depend upon foreign capital, and we welcome investment. We have our regulatory mechanisms through FIRB, and they're important to recognise our national interest. It's not surprising, though, given the nature of the investment that occurred, that there would not be a continuous uplift in that. We had, through COVID and through a range of periods, we had a global downturn in general, and that had an impact as well. But we are a country that run an open economy. We, of course, look after our national interests, and we consider any investment proposals on a case-by-case basis with those mechanisms. Here, we'll just go around.
PM, what will you be telling Xi Jinping tomorrow about your government's promise to force the sale of the Port of Darwin?
I will be, if it's raised, our position's very clear, and I'm sure that the President's very clear and is knowledgeable of that.
Prime Minister, what will you be telling President Xi tomorrow about the...
I might leave the comments to President Xi just to preempt a bit. I'll have a discussion with the President. I'll treat him with the respect that I would any leader of another country, and not foreshadow everything the day in advance.
Okay,